Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you're joining us from today. Thank you for joining our webinar on how to build an Invincible incident management plan. Today we'll cover three things in our webinar. The first thing that we'll talk about is downtime in the relationship to how your team responds to downtime. From there, we'll get into the essential components of a robust incident management plan. And finally, we'll talk about some of the key tools to reduce that mean time to acknowledge and resolve. And we'll also show you a demonstration so that you can really put specific ideas to action. So let's do some intros before we proceed into today's material. My name is Bill Emmett. I'm our Director for Product Marketing here at Splunk and VictorOps. I've been in the IT industry for about 25 years, covering everything from being in operations for a number of years to software development, software test, and in various R&D roles. I've been in a number of marketing roles as well, and I have a lot of passion, and I love the area of IT operations and exchanging ideas with people around this topic. And with me today is Dylan Klausing. Dylan, would you like to share a few words about yourself?
Thanks, Bill. My name is Dylan Klausing. I'm a senior sales engineer here at VictorOps. I've been with the team for over 4 years, working through support, customer success, and now as a sales engineer. I've helped implement VictorOps into many incident management plans with our customers.
Great. Let's dive into the challenges of downtime. Downtime, if you've been in IT for any amount of time, it's happened to you and it's inevitable. The thing that's not inevitable, though, is how you respond to it. And we'll talk about some of the aspects of that in this section. As a brief level set, digital transformation is changing the way that we think about our businesses and technology. No matter what industry in or where you are either disrupting the industry with digital transformation initiatives that you're leading and taking on, or chances are you may become the one who is disrupted. Digital transformation requires that organizations move quickly in order to take advantage of new business opportunities and avoid new threats. And as a result, organizations are delivering applications faster than ever before. Just 10 years ago, we would think of updates as an annual, maybe at best semi-annual activity. As better methodologies for both software development and the technologies to support it came along, we started to take on agile projects where we delivered in a more frequent pattern and we looked at taking a more incremental step. Today, in a world of continuous integration and delivery, we can deliver applications on a matter of multiple times a day, which is great and it's powerful and it's allowing us to be very responsive to our market and our stakeholders. But the one implication that it has is for every change that we make, we introduce some risk that there's going to be downtime. And with the frequency of changes that we have, the likelihood of incurring risk grows ever more. Between delivering releases constantly, adding complexity in the technology that you have is creating a very fascinating environment where you're able to do more, but you're also creating more risk than ever. And as a result, that risk often translates into outages. And while one might think that the more technology moves around, outages would decrease, the opposite is actually true. We're seeing more and more enterprises reporting significant outages in their organization constantly. Furthermore, about 80% of those outages are often human-related and are clearly preventable problems. Since complexity, frequency of releases, and now outages are all on the rise, it's more important than ever for your organization to get their arms around building a robust incident management plan. Let's talk through a few key areas on how you can make that happen in your organization. In every aspect of IT, thinking through people, process, and technology is critical to creating good outcomes. And with incident management, it's no different. And for many organizations, thinking about tools, the processes, and the people and how they're organized often mature at different rates. Here you can see how many organizations can evolve over time, with some of the most basic attributes being on the left and basically growing their capability over time. You may grow your capability around technology faster than, say, your processes. You may also increase your capability around people and skills faster than what your tools can support. This is a good guide to provide a sense of what kinds of skills, attributes that you will have across your tools, your processes, and your people in order to understand how mature you are and how capable you are around incident management. Now, you may be wondering, why is it so difficult to be able to mature and add capability around my incident management response? And what are the headwinds that keep it from being better? And a lot of it comes down to the way in which you model your incident response and incident management approach. Many organizations treat alerts, problems that are being reported by people or monitoring tools in the same way. And they also treat their organization as essentially same skilled and same capability and same aptitudes. In reality, we know that alerts are different and they can be better served by different people who have different expertise. By treating everybody the same and every alert the same, what you've essentially done is created a slow response model that then requires people to escalate problems to other individuals and also take a longer time to acknowledge and ultimately resolve these problems. Here's an example of what a more sophisticated incident management approach would look like. There's a couple key things I'll point your attention to. The first one is that we don't treat all alerts the same. Alerts have different kinds of severity. They have different domains of problems that they reflect. The other thing that's very different here is that we're treating our experts as experts with their own area of expertise. And by being able to get the right people connected with the right alerts, a couple key things happen. The first thing that happens is that fewer people actually are involved. We don't have to engage everybody and hope that somebody knows the answer. We just need to engage the people that we know are experts in the problem. The second thing that happens is by being able to treat the right alerts and getting it to the right people, their need to be able to escalate those problems to other people and the time required to resolve it goes down significantly. So between the time it takes to be able to have somebody say, I've got this, I'm on this, and then all the way through the resolution phase, we have fundamentally changed the overall lag time between when problems are introduced and when problems are resolved. Having a good incident management approach means also being able to define a clear strategy. One of the things that's very critical is to really understand the people that are involved, understanding who are the teams and what are the processes around this, and also making sure that everybody understands who's involved and how they can engage each other. The second thing that's also very important is around creating and implementing SLAs. Without SLAs, every alert, every outage will appear equally important. By understanding its impact to the business, you now get a better insight on what are the things that you need to prioritize your effort and your talent on resolving right away, and which ones can wait a little bit. And the third one is, for as much as we all want to automate every process, the reality is there's a lot of important tribal knowledge that exists in your organization. Unlocking that tribal knowledge and getting people to engage in the right interaction patterns to leverage that tribal knowledge is a very important aspect that really factors in the value that your people have in the organization and how they can add more value than what they would be able to do if we just simply treated them as a general purpose on-call team member. Once you've defined a strategy, it's also very important as you execute over time to be able to constantly look at what's working well, what isn't, and to be able to support your people effectively by supporting the things that are working right and also making tweaks to the things that are not. And there's a few key practices that regularly come up over and over around this. The first one is to be transparent across teams, and trust becomes a very important aspect of this. This leads me to the next 2 points around being able to promote a safe-to-fail experimentation approach where learning is much more valuable than blaming people. And that's where post-incident reviews, that idea of blameless reviews, the focus on learning and not blame becomes extremely critical. A couple other things that we need to keep in mind is that we want to really take the ideal advantage of people that are involved. And a couple things that you should look at are the fact that, first of all, we are talking not about systems, we're talking about people when we think about on-call. And we need to think about how they're scheduled, what their aptitudes are, and how they like to work in a way that allows them to do their best work by recharging when they need to and being on call and engaged, and efficiently so when they are on call. And finally, one of the things that's important is to think about automation and where you can create automation. Our best recommendation is to think about automation more like a cruise control rather than an autopilot. It's something that can accelerate and take work and tasks out of the hands of people, but ultimately we know that teams and people are accountable for the outcomes of automation and therefore need to be connected into what's being automated and where it is being automated. When it comes to people and process and technology, continuous improvement is the most important thing that you can do to make regular improvements in your organization. Here are 5 quick things that you can do in your organization right now to be able to improve things. The first thing is to measure as much as you can and then being able to correlate it. You do not need to measure everything, but you do need to measure those things that are likely to generate the metrics and the context required to really be able to resolve problems quickly. The second thing is that you need to be able to look for waste in areas to improve quality. This may involve things like reducing toil, excessive labor for a particular task, or it may be being able to ensure that you are delivering the right information and context to people so that they're able to respond more quickly and completely to problems. Third, post-incident reviews, when done correctly, can drive continuous improvement. As I mentioned before, if you conduct post-incident reviews based around the importance of learning and applying that learning rather than assignment of blame, you will create a much better experience and you will create a much more valuable opportunity for continuous improvement in your organization. The fourth thing is automate where possible for scale. As I mentioned, thinking about this as more of a co-pilot or cruise control rather than a completely autopilot experience is, I think, the ideal blend of automation and people's expertise. And fifth is to make small changes in order to get big impacts. Thinking about things incrementally, just as you probably are developing your software with faster incremental sprints, this allows you the ability to really make continuous improvement and not have to wait to see the positive outcomes of them. One organization I've had the opportunity to work with that's made dramatic improvements thinking about people, process, and technology across incident management is Entrust Data Card. They've been looking at ways of improving the efficiency of their incident management process, but they've also been thinking through the human factors aspect of it, leveraging a mobile app to engage on-call people away from the NOC, and also being able to use the severity of alerts to flexibly define whether this is an alert-worthy thing that interrupts all other work and maybe even work outside of normal business hours, or whether this is a non-critical event that can wait until the next morning. Entrust Data Card has created an approach that allows people to have the right kind of approach for the alerts that are coming in relative to the on-call teams that are there to support it. In IT and in all facets of work, we often have a choice, which is, do we work fast or do we do something in a more complete way? One of the things that we need to think about with incident management is how do we create two sides of the coin? One that allows us the completeness to better understand incidents, but more importantly, how can we accelerate the incident management process when outages come in and we need to address them? One analogy that we've used to help customers understand the importance between being both complete, often is reflected by having a complete, say, ITIL-driven way of handling problems, usually driven through service desk technology, and being able to manage incidents remotely and quickly and engaging on-call teams, is to think about the difference between the way a hospital and an ambulance work. In any good medical system, both are necessary, but they support health in two different ways. An ambulance is really biased for speed. It is designed to triage, to stabilize the patient, and to basically get people to the hospital where a more complete approach can be handled with them over time. But that speed is really critical for people that require that service. Meanwhile, the hospital complements that by being able to provide all the compliance, all the reporting, all the scheduled work that you can do. And when you bring those two capabilities together, you have a complete approach to incident management. And now let's talk about the importance of monitoring and how it relates to incident management. As our work and our technology stacks are changing, we need to really think about the way in which we interact with our technology and the tools that we use to get the work done. Traditionally, we thought of things as really in various forms of stacks, whether it was around the infrastructure, whether it was around the way in which we provided visibility and service support, or whether it was around the kinds of tools and specialists that we engaged in order to solve the problem. As we move from what we thought of as a traditional ops world to a new ops world, we see that there are some very notable differences. We think less around technologies and more around platforms, whether it's around cloud or serverless or containers. We think about things that are delivering units of value back to the developers and the consumers of that service. When we think about the kinds of strategies that are involved, we really see that there are multiple methodologies that can be brought in that really help specialists perform their jobs and also interact with each other in more effective ways. We see that there are new kinds of ways in which our tools can provide insight and processes. So rather than having a tool for each kind of work, each kind of thing that you may be monitoring or work that you're doing, we see that there are more and more technologies that are really spanning those silos and are really more focused around the data than the actual tool itself. AI and ML is really leading the charge and creating some tremendous opportunities for us to really rethink the relationship between us and our monitoring systems, as well as whether we are just reactive or whether we can be more proactive as well. And finally, the tool sets that we have are really geared around enabling collaboration, around engaging multiple platforms, and are also, in a way, shifting left, so that we can think about how what developers build can be more seamlessly brought into production. One of the things that's very important as you set out a monitoring strategy is that you need to be able to monitor and be able to focus on observability, both in terms of some of the infrastructure and applications that you have, but also in terms of the service that is ultimately the thing experienced by the end user in the business value. We find that a lot of people are very sophisticated now at monitoring their applications, their networks, and their infrastructures, but maybe overlooking some of the things that are getting in the way of delivering an effective service. Like, what is the role of content delivery networks and DNS, and how is that affecting outcomes? What is going on in terms of your external networks and ISPs, and also the services that you have? Another thing that's very important is you don't need to monitor everything. But what you do need to do is think about the signals that you want to listen to and instrument your infrastructure and your services to monitor around those things. looking for signals is great, but when you can pair that kind of approach with AI and ML technologies, it now provides you some tremendous advantages that you may not have been able to do before. So for example, one of the things that often goes wrong is based on a pattern of predecessor events or even some weak linkages of patterns between those events that are generally unseen to the human eye but understood to the machine. We have the ability to start to identify the leading indicators for outages, which can provide as much as a 30 or 40-minute window where you can be alerted to that problem and address it in a way that you can, in effect, resolve the problem before it becomes something that directly impacts your customers and stakeholders and potentially revenue as well. As powerful and as intelligent as monitoring tools have become, I'm also here to tell you today that they alone are not enough. And if you don't pair them with something that is providing a direct linkage to the people that are going to perform incident management, monitoring tools alone is like clapping with one hand. While monitoring tools are great at surfacing alert-worthy events, you need to get those events into the hands of the people that are going to either escalate it to the right people, that can mobilize a team of people if you have a major incident, or allow you to have better context into the SLAs that you have. And that's one of the key things that we see as a critical success factor to good incident management. An example of a company that has leveraged both their monitoring tools, but especially their incident management approach to rethink the way in which they handle incidents. PSEU, a financial technology company based on the East Coast of the U.S., has been able to take the right information from their monitoring, get that into the hands of the right people to really focus on solving a specific outcome, which was the mean time to acknowledge, the lag time between when an alert-worthy event is created and when somebody in the PSEU organization says, I'm on it, I'm here to solve it. And with regular changes with the processes they have, with the way they do monitoring, and especially with their use of VictorOps, they've been able to sequentially bring their MTTA down from 4 hours to all the way down to an MTTA of 2 minutes. And that's a tremendous improvement. Now let's talk about the tools that will help you build an Invincible incident management plan. And for that, I'd like for Dylan to walk through some of the material as well as provide a demonstration. Dylan?
VictorOps allows you to centralize your monitoring stack and all your alerts to one place. We then take that information and push that out to the appropriate on-call personnel who can fix the issue the fastest. Here's an overview of what the workflow would look like with VictorOps. As you can see on the left-hand side, we'll hook up our monitoring tools to VictorOps. So when something's detected, we will receive that information, we will push on to the on-call professionals that can triage the incident the fastest. We also have integrations with Slack and ServiceNow that are bi-directional to meet your on-call professionals where they work. After an incident is completed, we give you the tools to do analysis and prepare for the next time an incident occurs. Now let's jump into a quick demo of VictorOps. With VictorOps, we have over 100 out-of-the-box integrations. Everything you see listed here allows you to connect VictorOps via API, plugin, or email endpoints. If the integration is not listed here, we also give you the ability to use our REST and generic email to make sure you get the critical alerts into VictorOps into the appropriate teams. In addition to centralizing your alerts into one place, we allow you to centralize all your team and team management to one place as well with VictorOps. Here we're going to have a list of all of our on-call teams. Each of these teams is going to have its own set of users with its own set of permissions. From there, you can allow your team administrators to build the rotations that best fit their team's needs. Whether it's 24/7 or follow the Sun type model, VictorOps gives you the flexibility to make sure you have the coverage needed for when a critical incident comes in. Once these rotations are created, we allow you to automate the escalation policy. So this allows you to get away from eyes on glass and automate and streamline your escalation policies to match your SLAs. As you can see here, we can notify several different people at once, and if they don't respond to an incident within a certain amount of time, we go to the next user and so on down the list. This is extremely critical when dealing with incident response. Every minute is precious, so we want to give you the flexibility to respond quickly to critical events. Once the configuration is done in VictorOps, we provide a dashboard view to give you visibility into all your on-call users, what team they're on call for. We'll give you an infrastructure timeline showing you all the alerts and incidents coming into the system and all the system actions around those alerts. And we also queue up your alerts in 3 different states: triggered, acknowledged, and resolved. This also gives you visibility to where your incidents stand and who's acknowledged them and who is responding to them. Once a user is paged, they'll quickly be able to see all the system details around the incident. They'll have a timeline of events and chats and system actions. And then we also provide collaboration tools within the incident. So once a user is paged, they can quickly assess and see if they need additional teams or users to help triage this incident. This is done with our Add Responders feature, which allows you to bring in a team or teams into the incident. We'll also even do suggested responders to give you some insights into who's worked on this issue in the past. In addition to adding responders, we give users the ability to quickly reroute an incident. So whether a user was mispaged or they've triaged the incident as far as they can go with it, they can quickly reroute it to another team, which will begin paging the on-call user for that escalation policy. In addition to interacting with the users within the platform, we allow users to provide context to the incident. So we allow them to give notes, runbooks, graphs, anything that may help the end user quickly resolve the issue. This is where you prepare for an incident, so the next time it comes in, you pass on all that tribal knowledge to the next user who is paged. Once an incident is completed, we'll put it into a resolve queue, and it closes out into our resolved state. VictorOps provides you several reports. We have 3 analytic reports to assess the performance of your teams around the incident and the frequency of those incidents. And then we also give you the ability to have a post-incident review. The post-incident review allows you to look back at a critical outage or critical event to see all the events that took place that led to that outage. From there, you can assess what worked, what didn't work. You can summarize your timeline notes, action items, and even give a summary for your stakeholders. Once this report is complete, you can save it, print it as a PDF, and share it internally to be transparent about everything that happened during that outage, and then to also prepare for the next time this may occur.
Thank you, Dylan, for that really insightful demo. As I mentioned earlier, monitoring without incident management or incident management without monitoring is like clapping with one hand. So in addition to VictorOps, let's look at one other technology on the monitoring side that can really help change the dynamics of how incident management occurs in your organization: Splunk IT Service Intelligence, or what we just simply call ITSI. At its core, it provides 3 key attributes that are worth noting. The first one is it helps you predict and prevent outages by being able to apply machine learning and AI techniques to look at signals and patterns in your monitoring to be able to find leading indicators for problems that exist. Those are immediately surfaced so that you're able to resolve problems very quickly. Furthermore, it takes related alerts and brings them all together so that now what you have is a clean event stream between your monitoring tool, ITSI, and your incident management tool, VictorOps. This creates the benefit of fewer but more actionable alerts for your organization to address. Another thing that Splunk ITSI does is provide additional business and IT service context for the problems that are going out. As is often the case, when one thing is unavailable, multiple things are unavailable. But what do you focus your efforts on first? By having a better indication of, one, what business services are impacted, and two, what is the probable root cause of the problem, you can deploy your people quickly in order to solve these problems effectively. And the third thing is that Splunk IT Service Intelligence leverages the Splunk platform. What this means is that you're able to take advantage of the AI and machine learning capabilities that are built there to create some more custom acts of machine learning that serve your specific needs. Furthermore, the Splunk platform allows you to ask any question of your data and be able to get that response in a form that is useful to you and your organization. Taken together, IT Service Intelligence is a monitoring tool that fits the incident management approach of VictorOps like a hand in glove. If you put together the benefits of being able to detect failures quickly, to be able to route the concerns to the right people, accelerate their troubleshooting, and get the service restored right away, you can fundamentally change the dynamics of what outages mean in your organization. When we combine the benefits of being able to look at how do you reduce high priority incidents by being able to be more predictive, to being able to acknowledge those faster, like what VictorOps allows you to do, as PSCU, as we mentioned, moved from 4 hours to 2 minutes in terms of faster time to acknowledge. And then being able to investigate, quickly ask questions of your data to be able to find sources of problems and then be able to fix them quickly. You can combine these to really create a very powerful additive and even exponential effect around how you can take on mean time to resolution. And when we auger in on the value of VictorOps, we really see three consistent waves of benefits that our customers experience. The first one is a sharp reduction in that mean time to acknowledge and the mean time to resolution. Mean time to acknowledge, again, reduced by being able to route incidents to the right people that are going to take ownership of them, and mean time to resolve by being able to help teams investigate more quickly and collaborate to solve those problems. The second key benefit of VictorOps is that collaboration and context. Alerts by themselves may not provide enough information, but with VictorOps, you're able to annotate those alerts with relevant information, metrics, graphs, other kinds of runbooks in order to help accelerate ways in which you can investigate and resolve the problem. And the third thing about VictorOps that's really important is that we're providing a fundamentally better on-call experience to people. By having them be able to engage by a mobile app, it basically allows you to take on-call shifts that are at non-traditional business hours with a lot lower effort and source of anxiety for you. You're able to respond to things quickly, be able to do things in a matter of seconds that otherwise you may have had to go to a traditional event console to do. As a result, you have happier developers, you have happier operations people. They're less burned out, they have more improved morale, you have lower turnover as a result of all these items. Before we close out this webinar, I wanted to provide a recap of the key planks of a robust incident management plan. First is around the lines of people, process, and technology, looking at the evolution of how you evolve each of these, but also how you do them in context with each other. One of the most important things that we've learned today is the importance of making people effective and happy. This is a human factors discussion, and we're really talking about people here. And the second thing is the focus on prioritizing continuous improvement, valuing learning over blame as a way of being able to gain improvements in the organization. The second thing that we did is looked at the importance of being able to not just have a complete view of things, but create an aspect of incident management that has a bias towards speed and immediacy for problems and being able to get people to quickly own problems and quickly collaborate on those problems in order to resolve outages more quickly. And then the third thing was around monitoring the right things. And that meant being able to have the tools that you have for alerts tuned in to send the right kinds of alerts that don't create alert fatigue, that also create a lot of immediate value and are clearly routable to the right people. It also means being able to apply technologies that are available like AI and machine learning to get more predictive in the signals that may indicate a problem is brewing. And then the third thing is to really understand how you can model your services, quantify the downtime impact, but equally important, share all of that information in line of the incident management tool that you're using to respond to the problem that you're working on. Does this sound interesting to you? Well, if you want to try Splunk or VictorOps, you can do it for free. You can go to Splunk.com and try Splunk for free, either as a cloud or in a on-premises downloadable form. Another thing that you can do is try VictorOps for free. Go to try.victorops.com and we'll set you right up with a 14-day free trial. It is the full version of VictorOps where you can set up your schedules, users, integrations, and timelines so that you can really understand how incident management can be made fundamentally better with VictorOps. Well, that's it today. If you'd like to learn more about incident management, you might want to join us at .conf in Las Vegas. Go to conf.splunk.com to register today, or go learn more about new ops in your town. Check out newopsdays.org to learn more. Thank you very much, and on behalf of Dylan Clausing, we hope you enjoyed this webinar and hope you have a wonderful day.